So without further ado, grab your popcorn and snacks and let's go all the way back to the beginning of Fortnite Battle Royale. Now let's take a trip back in time to when Fortnite first launched in 2017. You remember, right? Back when the only worry you had was whether or not you'd make it to the battle bus in time. Or, if you had to explain to your friends why you just died from fall damage. Again. Or if you will finally get that sweet victory royale. But seriously, when you look back at it, Fortnite OG was something truly special. It wasn't because of the fancy skins, the emotes. No, it was something much more raw than that. It was because of that perfectly unpolished chaos, the simplicity that just worked. It was a game where things felt unpredictable, but in the best possible way. That unpredictability is what made it so memorable. You never really knew how the match would play out. A build-off in one game, a wild, ridiculous chase with ATKs in the next. It was like every match had its own little story, and you were right there, in the middle of it, living it. The map wasn't trying to be anything but itself. Dusty Depot wasn't pretty. Greasy Grove wasn't fancy, but they were home. That's what it was for so many of us. These places felt familiar, like a virtual hometown we could drop into after a long day. You'd log in, gather your friends, and boom, off to Greasy or Retail Row. Like it was the most normal thing in the world. What made these locations so special wasn't just the names or the layouts. It was the memories we built there. Every time I dropped into Tilted Towers, I was bracing myself for the chaos. It was like walking into a war zone, knowing full well you might not make it out alive, but that thrill, that rush, it was addictive. And every place had its own vibe. The open fields around Fatal Fields made you feel exposed, vulnerable, but in the trees of Wailing Woods, you were hidden, quietly stalking your prey or gearing up for that next circle. Before the game exploded into the global phenomenon it is today, it felt smaller, more connected. Every time you logged in, it felt like you were part of something. Sure, we all knew there were millions playing, but it didn't feel like it. It felt like it was just you, your friends, and this gigantic map to explore and conquer together. The game brought people together in a way that not many games had before. Whether it was through hilarious moments like getting rocketed off the map or those clutch last-second victory royales, or even the complicated mechanics that would come later. It was the experiences you had with others that truly made it feel special. The weapons back then weren't just part of the game, they were part of the experience. Every time you picked one up, it brought a certain kind of magic. Remember that feeling when you'd stumble across one of those rare, powerful weapons? It was like finding treasure. And the moments, those heart-pounding, adrenaline-filled encounters where your go-to weapon just clicked. Whether you were pulling off that clutch shot or hearing the iconic sound of a legendary weapon in your hands, it hit different back then. There's a reason we still talk about those early days, because those weapons weren't just tools, they were memories. They brought drama, that sense of pure satisfaction when you'd land a perfect hit, or the tension as you scrambled for just one more shot in those chaotic build battles. You'd get that rush of excitement when you saw a golden glow in your inventory, knowing you were about to turn the tides of a fight. Each weapon had its own personality, its own quirks. Some you mastered over time, while others, they became the stuff of legend. There were those incredible, unforgettable moments, whether it was outplaying an opponent with a perfectly timed shot or taking down entire structures in one explosive move that made you feel like you were living in a highlight reel. No matter how many updates came after, those OG weapons were different. They weren't just gear, they were symbols of the memories we made and the friends we teamed up with. Every elimination, every victory felt earned. Looking back, you realize it wasn't just the weapons we miss, it's the way they made us feel like every match was a new adventure. And then came the events, those moments that completely shook the Fortnite world. It wasn't just a game anymore, it became something bigger. Remember the meteor? Everyone was glued to the sky, watching as it loomed closer, speculating endlessly. Was it going to destroy Tilted Towers? What would it change? It was like we all became part of this massive in-game mystery, and we were living through it together. It wasn't just about playing the game anymore. It was about being there for those unforgettable moments. The chaos, the mystery, and the surprise. They're what made Fortnite so much more than just a shooter. Those were the days when every time you logged in, it felt like something big could happen at any moment. And then there was the rocket launch. That moment was legendary. The entire server just stopped. Players who were once gunning for each other put their weapons down. And suddenly we were all in the same place. staring at the sky, watching this massive spectacle unfold. The sheer awe of it, the rocket tearing through the atmosphere, portals opening up. It was like nothing we'd ever seen before. In that moment, Fortnite wasn't just a battle royale, it was a shared experience, a cultural event that brought millions of us together. And that's what set Fortnite apart. It wasn't just the game, mechanics or the weapons, it was the feeling that you were part of something alive, something constantly changing. Every update, every event felt like you were on the edge of something huge. The map itself wasn't just a place to fight. It was a world that evolved, and we were all along for the ride. Remember when the cube showed up? No one knew what it was or what it was going to do. But it didn't matter. We were all there, following its every move, watching it roll across the map, leaving chaos and mystery in its wake. It was like the game had its own storyline, and we were the players living through it in real time. OG Fortnite was more than just a game. It was a dynamic, ever-evolving world filled with excitement and mystery. Every moment felt special as the community came together to experience surprises and create lasting memories. With constant changes and shared adventures, it became a magical, cherished era that players still remember fondly. So why was Fortnite OG so perfect? It wasn't just the map, the weapons, or the events. It was the feeling. The feeling of jumping into a game where anything could happen. The feeling of finding a game that made you laugh, made you scream, made you want to play just one more round. It was a game that brought people together, whether you were a pro or someone who spent 90% of the game in a bush. It didn't matter. Fortnite OG was perfect because it was a moment in time. A moment that will never truly come back, but one that we'll always remember. So, here's to Fortnite OG, the game that gave us incredible moments, silly dances, and memories we'll never forget. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And let us know in the comments, what did you love most about OG Fortnite?